Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to being truly well-informed, and hopefully we throw in some surprising facts and just enough humor to keep you hooked.
That's the plan.
Today, we're plunging into something, well, deeply human, something we all experience. How to express worry naturally in English.
It's fundamental.
Did you know that some linguistic anthropologists, they argue that just articulating a feeling, like saying it out loud, can actually lessen its intensity?
Yeah, it's like putting a label on it. Makes it feel more manageable somehow.
Exactly. You know, many of us, when we're learning language, we focus so much on grammar, vocabulary.
The nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Which are essential, of course.
Right, essential. But language is also profoundly emotional. It's really about real-life connection. And honestly, thinking about this, I realized I often use the same, 2 or 3 words myself.
We all fall into patterns.
So here's the question for you listening. Do you know how to express your worries naturally in English? I mean, just like a native speaker would.
It's a good question to ask yourself.
Our goal for this deep dive is simple. By the end, you'll know how to talk about your worries, you'll understand native speakers better when they talk about theirs, and you'll have, well, an emotional roadmap to express how you really feel using authentic English.
Yeah, moving beyond just the textbook phrases.
Okay, let's unpack this.
What's truly fascinating here is how this really goes beyond just language learning, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's fundamentally about genuine human connection. It's interesting, in many Western cultures, showing vulnerability, like expressing worry, isn't really seen as weakness. It's often seen as an act of strength.
Right. It builds bridges.
It really does. It fosters deeper bonds.
Yeah.
Much faster than just, polite small talk. So talking about your worries, it's not just a language exercise. It's a powerful way to be honest, to be real, to show trust in the other person. It literally helps build those connections.
That's such a key distinction, isn't it? It's like emotional fluency is this whole other skill.
Exactly, a parallel track to grammatical fluency.
And to develop that, we definitely need to upgrade our worry vocabulary. You probably know words like worried, nervous, maybe anxious.
The standard ones.
Yeah, and they're fine. But for real life, everyday English, we can go, much further.
Get more nuanced.
These are the kinds of things you'll actually hear in casual, authentic chats. So listen to these native expressions for worry. Maybe silently repeat them or just imagine yourself saying them.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a lot on my mind.
That's a common one.
Or I'm feeling a bit on edge.
That captures that jittery feeling.
I can't stop overthinking.
Oh yeah, the hamster wheel.
It's been keeping me up at night.
That shows it's really affecting you.
I'm kind of freaking out.
A bit more intense, that one.
I'm under a lot of pressure right now.
Very relatable for many people.
And this is really weighing on me.
Yeah, that implies a heavy burden.
So why are these expressions just so effective for connection?
Well, I think their power is in conveying these deeper, more nuanced emotional states. Yeah. Better than just simple adjectives can.
Right. Worried is okay, but on edge.
Exactly. On edge hints at that nervous anticipation, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. While weighing on me, like you said, implies something heavy, prolonged. Understanding these subtle differences is really key to precise emotional communication. They're not just descriptions. They kind of open a window into how you're actually feeling.
So it's about the emotional language, not just getting the grammar right.
Precisely. And that connects people. It allows for this shared understanding that, simpler words often miss.
That makes sense. Are there any of those phrases, maybe, that learners find particularly tricky? Or maybe misuse?
Well, I'm kind of freaking out can sometimes be misinterpreted. It depends a lot on context and tone.
How so?
It's quite informal, right? And it suggests a pretty sudden, intense feeling, panic almost. So you probably wouldn't drop that in a formal business meeting.
Right. Okay. Save that for friends or maybe close colleagues you trust.
Exactly. It's definitely more for informal settings.
Okay. Good tip. So we've got some vocabulary now. Let's imagine you need to actually start a conversation. You're talking to a friend, maybe a teacher, a colleague, and you want to express that something's bothering you.
Yeah, how do you open that door gently?
Exactly. You want to be soft, honest, real, without being overly dramatic. So here are some natural ways to begin.
Yep.
Hey, can I talk to you about something simple, direct?
Clear invitation.
Or I've been feeling a little off lately.
More subtle, signals something's not quite right.
There's something I've been thinking about a lot.
That works too. Shows it's been on your mind.
Or this one, which sounds very native, mind if I get something off my chest?
Yeah, that's a great idiom. Really natural.
And maybe I've been really stressed and I just need to talk it through.
Very clear about needing to process it verbally.
So how do these phrases work in the bigger picture?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these phrases are really critical for building trust. They signal you want a deeper conversation, but importantly, without putting the other person on the spot or demanding they fix it.
Right, it's an invitation, not a demand.
Exactly. It's an invitation to connect more personally. They convey that sense of genuine vulnerability and openness. And often that's reciprocated, which strengthens the bond.
Okay, so we know how to start these conversations, but what about when it's the other way around? Someone opens up to you.
Equally important, right? How to respond well.
Totally. And please resist just saying, okay, or the classic, don't worry.
Oh yeah, that can feel so dismissive, even if you mean well.
It sounds robotic, dismissive. Instead, here are some empathetic, supportive phrases. They have a warm, understanding, sort of real tone.
Good. Let's hear them.
I get it. That sounds tough.
Simple validation. Powerful.
You're not alone. I felt like that too.
Sharing that common ground. Very comforting.
Thanks for sharing that with me.
Acknowledges the trust they've shown you.
It makes sense you'd feel that way.
More validation. It normalizes their feelings.
And simply, I'm here if you need to talk.
A clear offer of support without pressure.
Why are these so much better?
These responses are just incredibly powerful because they offer that validation we talked about. When someone shares worries, often they're looking for understanding, not necessarily instant solutions.
Right. Just to be heard.
Exactly. And phrases like, you're not alone, they create that shared experience, which is hugely comforting. It makes you think, doesn't it, about the impact of a truly empathetic response versus one that accidentally minimizes things by jumping to fix it.
Yeah. It validates their reality first.
Which is the essential first step towards them feeling supported.
Okay, let's put this all together. Let's listen to a quick, realistic example conversation. As you listen, imagine you're one of the speakers. You might recognize some things we've discussed.
Okay.
So person A says, hey, you've been kind of quiet today. Everything all right?
Gentle opening. Nice.
Person B, not really. I've got a lot going on. Just feeling overwhelmed, I guess.
There it is. A lot going on. Overwhelmed.
Person A, do you want to talk about it?
Simple, open question. No pressure.
Person B, yeah, maybe. I've been overthinking everything, work, family stuff. It's just a lot.
Overthinking. Using the vocabulary naturally.
Person A, I totally get that. It's okay to feel that way. You don't have to carry it all by yourself.
Great response. Validation, I get it, it's okay. And support, you don't have to carry it.
Person B, thanks, I appreciate it. It helps to say it out loud.
And that last line from B, it helps to say it out loud.
Yeah.
That just perfectly sums up the relief, the validation that comes from sharing.
Yeah, it shows why talking is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds so natural, so supportive because of that progression, the specific phrases, and that feeling of being heard. It really is a testament to just being heard.
Okay, so beyond individual phrases, there's another layer, isn't there? For sounding really native, phrasal verbs.
Ah, yes. Phrasal verbs. Essential for fluency.
They're super common when talking about stress, emotions. They just make you sound more natural.
Definitely high impact.
Okay, first one. To freak out. This means like to panic or feel suddenly very worried.
Right, like I freaked out before my presentation. Total panic mode.
Exactly. Then to bottle up. That means to hide your feelings.
As in, he always bottles up his emotions, which, let's be honest, isn't usually healthy.
No, it's like shaking a soda bottle. Eventually pop.
Good analogy. Third.
To open up. The opposite, really. To share how you actually feel.
Like I finally opened up to my friend about my anxiety. That takes courage.
It does. Next, to break down. This means to lose emotional control.
Yeah, she broke down after getting the news, crying, overwhelmed.
Right. And finally, to get worked up. This is becoming very upset or emotional about something.
I always get worked up over little things, like easily agitated or stressed.
So why are these so important for sounding natural?
Well, these phrasal verbs are just. They're essential because they're so idiomatic. Native speakers use them constantly without even thinking.
Right. They're just part of the fabric of everyday English.
Exactly. And they carry a depth of meaning, a sort of dynamic, vivid picture of an emotional state that single words often don't capture. So I'd really encourage you, the listener, try making your own sentences with these. Play around with them. That's honestly how they'll stick and become a natural part of your active vocabulary.
Good advice. Practice makes perfect, or at least more natural. Okay, sometimes after you talk about worries, the next step is discussing how you deal with them, right? Coping mechanisms.
Yeah, talking about how you manage. It shows resilience, self-awareness.
And it's crucial for seeking the right kind of support, too. Here are some useful structures for talking about coping.
Okay.
When I feel overwhelmed, usually you just fill in the blank.
Simple structure.
One thing that helps me is
Also straightforward.
I try to take a step back and
Good for creating distance.
for concrete examples, you might say, going for a walk helps clear my head.
That's like an internal coping strategy. Just you and your thoughts.
Or maybe I find that talking it through with a friend helps me put things in perspective.
More external, reaching out. Both are totally valid and important.
Absolutely. Managing stress isn't one size fits all.
And this actually raises an important question for you listening right now. What about you? Seriously, think about it. When you feel overwhelmed, stressed, what helps you cope?
Good reflection question.
Try speaking it out loud, even just to yourself. Use those structures we just mentioned.
Yeah, practice it.
And articulating your coping mechanisms, it isn't just for you. It can also give others insight into how maybe they can support you better, or it might even inspire their strategies.
That's a great point. Sharing coping strategies can be really helpful.
It transforms that moment of vulnerability into something practical, a path forward. Just practicing these phrases, reflecting on your own experience, that's what will solidify this knowledge.
Okay, let's do a really quick recap. A quick review of the key things we've unpacked today.
Sounds good.
Remember those more nuanced phrases for expressing worry? Like, I've got a lot on my mind, or it's been keeping me up at night. Maybe I'm under a lot of pressure.
Yep. Moving beyond just worried.
And those high-impact phrasal verbs, freak out, bottle up, open up, break down, get worked up.
Super common, very natural.
We talked about natural ways to start the conversation. Can I talk to you about something? I've been feeling off lately, and that really native one, there's something I need to get off my chest.
Crucial for initiating connection.
And just as crucial, those supportive responses when someone shares with you, you're not alone. That makes sense. Thanks for opening up.
Showing empathy and validation.
So bringing it all together, what's the main takeaway?
Well, to synthesize all this, I'd say remember that learning to talk about your emotions, especially worries, in English,
Yeah.
it really requires more than just knowing words off a list.
Right, it's active.
It takes deliberate practice, yeah.
Exactly.
And keen self-awareness, noticing how you feel and how others express themselves, and engaging with real examples, like the dialogue we heard. The more you actively use these expressions, the vocabulary, the phrases, the phrasal verbs, the starters, the responses, the more fluent, connected, and just plain natural you'll sound in your everyday English conversations.
It's moving from just being understood.
To truly being felt, connecting on that emotional level.
Great way to put it. So here's your call to action. Try it today. Seriously, talk to someone. Maybe you write in a journal using these phrases. Practice them out loud.
Shadowing helps too. Go back and repeat parts of this deep dive.
Yeah, definitely. Because speaking English isn't just about what you say. It's really about how you feel when you say it and how you make others feel.
True.
So here's a final thought to mull over. What emotions are you truly expressing with your words right now? Are they coming across authentically?
Something to reflect on.
If you found this deep dive helpful, please share it with a friend, maybe a language partner, someone else who might benefit.
Spread the knowledge.
And hey, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed with your English learning journey, just remember this. You are definitely not alone, and you're probably doing much better than you think.
Absolutely. Be kind to yourself.
Keep learning, keep growing.
Tackling something really human, aren't we?
We really are.
How to actually talk about worries in English, not just knowing the words, but, really connecting when you share what's on your mind.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
that connection piece that's so important.
Yeah, moving from just vocabulary lists to real vulnerability, whether it's big stuff jobs, the future, or, the little everyday things like, did I leave the stove on?
Right.
Being able to talk about these feelings clearly, it's just so vital for building, proper relationships.
It absolutely is. And it's universal, right? Worrying isn't unique to any language.
Right.
But how you express it in English, that's key for sounding, authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
And native speakers, they talk about worries all the time. It's woven into everyday chat, work stuff, deadlines, social things.
Totally.
So getting this right helps you sound more natural, definitely, but also feel more connected. That's the goal, isn't it?
That's spot on. feeling connected. Okay, so how do we actually do it? Let's start with the basics, the key vocabulary.
Good place to start.
We all know worried, right? That's the main one. Like, I'm worried about my test. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
But there are nuances. What about nervous? How's that different?
Well, nervous often connects to something specific coming up. Like, I'm nervous about speaking in front of people. There's an event, usually.
Okay, so tied to an event. What about anxious then?
Sounds similar.
It can be similar, yeah. But anxious can also suggest a more persistent feeling, maybe less specific. So you could say, I get anxious before interviews. That's specific.
Yeah.
But you might also just say, I've been feeling pretty anxious lately, meaning more generally uneasy.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. And stressed or stressed out. Hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Stressed out is super common. Work is really stressing me out. It implies pressure, being overwhelmed.
Got it. And the last one you mentioned, concern. Right, concerned. It often feels a bit more formal, maybe. Or used when you're worried about someone else. Like, I'm concerned about his health. It shows you're thinking about their well-being.
Understanding those little differences, yeah, that really helps make your English more precise.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's the core words. But what about when it's not just one word? When it's a whole feeling you need to get across, maybe more subtly?
Yes. This is where you get into those, like, less direct, but really natural-sounding phrases. The kind of things people say to sort of test the waters.
Test the waters. I like that. What kind of phrases?
Well, think about, I've got a lot on my mind. It signals something's up, but it's vague.
Right. Doesn't give specifics.
Exactly. Or, something's been bothering me lately. Again, very open-ended. It invites the other person to ask more if they want.
Okay.
You might also hear, I can't stop thinking about it, about a particular problem, or I've been feeling under pressure. These are just, very native, very real ways to show something's weighing on you.
I love those. They feel less like a big announcement and more like an opening. And speaking of sounding really native, phrasal verbs. We have to talk about phrasal verbs.
I'm absolutely crucial.
They're such game changers, aren't they, for making your English flow and sound less, stiff?
Definitely less like a textbook. They replace more formal verbs all the time in everyday speech.
Okay, let's hit some key ones for worries. First up, freak out.
Ah, a classic.
Means like sudden panic or fear, right? Like, I freaked out when I saw my exam results. Maybe not the best results.
Yeah, perfect example. Very common. And then there's stress out.
Which we mentioned, but as a phrasal verb.
Right. To become very anxious or overwhelmed, people often say, don't stress out too much. It's going to be fine. It's advice, almost.
Good one. Okay, what about bottle up?
Bottle up means hiding your feelings, keeping them inside. Like, she tends to bottle up her emotions.
Which isn't always healthy.
Not usually, no. Which leads nicely to the opposite. Open up.
To talk honestly about how you feel.
Exactly. It's okay to open up and tell someone what's bothering you. Really important.
And one more. Deal with.
Yeah. Deal with just means to manage or handle something, a problem or a feeling. I'm trying to deal with everything one step at a time, taking control.
It's interesting how they fit together. You just did it there, connecting bottle up and open up.
Right. And that's key. They often work together naturally. Like, you could easily say, lately I've been bottling up my feelings, but I know I need to open up and talk to someone. See?
Yeah, that flows perfectly.
It really does. So I'd really encourage you, the listener, to, try making sentences with these. It helps them stick.
Great advice. Okay, so we've got the words, we've got the natural phrases, the phrasal verbs, but the crunch time comes when you actually start the conversation, right?
The initiation part.
Yeah. How do you actually, begin to share something that makes you feel a bit vulnerable?
That's a really good question. It's often about signaling gently first, showing a little vulnerability yourself.
How would that sound?
You could try something like, can I talk to you about something that's been on my mind? It's polite, asks permission almost.
Okay, I like that.
Or maybe, I've been a bit stressed lately and I just need to get it off my chest. That phrase, get it off my chest, is great, means to say something that's been bothering you.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Get it off my chest.
Or even connect it to a shared experience. Like, do you ever get anxious about the future? I've been feeling that way recently. It makes it less about just you.
Right, opens it up. These are basically invitations for connection, aren't they?
Exactly. And then the flip side, when someone opens up to you, how you respond is just as crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't just nod. You need to show empathy, right?
Yeah.
Not just fluent words.
100%. Empathy is key because you need some natural ways to show you're listening and you care.
Like
Things like, I I totally get that. Very common, shows understanding. Or simply, that sounds really stressful, validates their feeling.
Okay.
To show you relate, maybe you're not alone, I felt like that too. That can be really comforting.
Yeah, definitely.
And acknowledging their trust is important too. Something like, thanks for opening up to me. It encourages them, shows it was safe to share.
Those are great, really practical.
Yeah.
Okay, let's maybe try putting some of this into a quick example, like a mini conversation between friends.
Good idea. Let's listen to how it might sound.
Okay, friend A starts.
Hey, you look a bit down. Everything okay?
Friend B, yeah, I don't know. I've been really stressed out lately.
A, want to talk about it?
B, I guess I've got a lot on my plate right now, work, family stuff, and I'm worried I'm not doing enough.
A, I know how that feels. It can be overwhelming. You're doing your best, though. Don't forget that.
B, thanks. It helps just saying it out loud, you know?
I love that little exchange. It shows so much. Like, you look a bit down, such a gentle way to start.
Yeah, not too intrusive.
And I've got a lot on my plate. Great idiom for being swamped. Super common.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite part is that last line from B. It helps just saying it out loud, you know? That feels so real, so native, that sense of relief. It really does. And that example ties into some key tips, really, for expressing worries well. First, use your real emotions. Don't just say, I'm fine, if you're not.
Right. Authenticity again.
Second, get the tone right. Being open isn't about being overly dramatic, just genuine.
Correct.
Third, embrace that emotional language. Native speakers use it constantly. And fourth, practice real conversations, even if it's just talking to yourself at first.
And shadowing, too.
Yeah.
Listening and repeating.
Absolutely. Shadowing natural phrases, like the ones we've discussed, helps build that muscle memory for authentic sound and rhythm.
Makes sense. Okay, so once you've opened up, often the next step is, what are you doing about it? Talking about coping.
Yes. The coping mechanisms. Also a really common part of these conversations. It shows proactivity.
So how do people talk about that naturally?
Well, lots of ways. You might hear, I go for a walk to clear my head. Very common.
Okay.
Or maybe I try to breathe deeply and calm myself down. Focusing on, physical calming.
Right.
Some people need to externalize it. I talk to a friend or write in my journal.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise really helps me unwind, another popular one.
Yeah, physical activity.
And just a general strategy, I try not to overthink things, trying to manage the mental side. These phrases show you're not just stuck, you're trying to cope.
Which brings us back to you, the listener. Think about it. When you feel stressed, what do you usually do? Try finishing that sentence in English. When I feel stressed, I usually cope.
Yeah, try it. Reflecting on your own experience in English is fantastic practice. It's not just translating thoughts, it's thinking in the language.
Exactly. It deepens the learning.
For sure.
So that pretty much wraps up our deep dive for today. We really wanted to help you feel more confident talking about worries, moving past just words to real connection.
Hopefully you feel a bit more equipped now.
Yeah, I hope so. And remember, it is absolutely okay to feel stressed or anxious or overwhelmed. We all do. But it's also really okay, actually. It's valuable to talk about it. And doing that in English, that builds profound communication skills. It's more than just vocabulary.
It truly is that vulnerability, that communication. It's invaluable.
Yeah.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
Just remember that the weight of worries you don't talk about is often heavier than the act of sharing them. So, take care. Don't bottle things up.
That's a great thought. Don't bottle things up. Keep practicing, keep exploring your English, and we'll be back soon for another deep dive.